I just want to thank everybody for raising their hand and participating in Global Entrepreneurship Week.
Alternate media. I like that.
Oh, we got 3 seconds.
In an office, so I'm just gonna hand the phone.
Oh, there you go.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes.
Just hand it to me. I'll be like,
We are
look,
ready.
like this is like a non-legit off.
We are live. We're live. Woo! What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Road to Global Entrepreneurship Week Vegas. My name is Elias Bedaloon, and I'm here with Megan Buckley. We're community organizers for Global Entrepreneurship Network, and we're with some folks that are part of the Global Entrepreneurship Vegas Committee, and also the co-founders of Alter New Media, Lauren and Nadya. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course, we're so excited to be here.
Super excited.
And for this coming week, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
It's gonna be so.
Yes.
For everybody,
Among many things.
everybody watching, can you just introduce your business and a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey, please?
Sure. So I'm like, where am I looking?
Oh, you
I'm
look
like,
there.
okay.
Or
Cool.
us.
I look everywhere.
Yeah.
So everywhere. Alternate Media. So we're a mission-driven marketing and media company, and we serve purpose-forward companies, creators, to make a difference in the world with their products and services or their content. And we initially were established as a digital production house, as I was speaking about earlier before we were live, back in late 2016. So we actually started as a digital production company for a TV show that I was hosting and producing called Nadya's Identity Files. So I know it's like so dramatic, and I was doing that in Hollywood. But actually, prior to that, I was in the social media world for maybe 4 years, and
cool.
prior to that, the entertainment industry. And Lauren also was in the creative world as a photographer. So by around like 2017, when we were doing the show, we essentially just kind of like merged the two worlds together, the media and the marketing world. And
Photography. And
exactly. And
acting
also,
influencers.
yeah, and then
Yes,
we
it all
launched
goes hand in hand.
a service called Instagram Rockstar at the end of 2017, and that took off pretty quickly. So now we can say we've served over about maybe 750 companies or so
wow.
since
Amazing.
2018. So it's
Wow.
been a good number all over the world. And yeah, so that's my spiel. What about you, Lauren? You want to share a little bit, or did I cover it?
In photography and just odd jobs here and there. That's how I got started. We moved to Los Angeles maybe in 2006, I believe, 2007. Lived there for several years, did a lot of photography. I had my work shown at the Louvre in Paris because I was part of a collective called See Me, which was out of New York City. And they gave a lot of opportunities to different artists, painters, photographers to submit their work to different contests. And my work happened to be entered into the contest, and it was shown at the Louvre in Paris. And it was about a guy and a girl that fell in love, and then they broke up. And they ended up getting into a motorcycle accident together, and they had broken up, but they rekindled their love post-mortem. So that was one of the first major photographs that I had done, and I told Nadya about this, and we decided to kind of incorporate the photography and videography into our media company. So it's a little background.
Yeah, so that was like a very
So
consolidated version.
Yeah, very consolidated.
Yeah, and we do a lot in spaces of tech, fashion. We serve a ton of e-commerce, and again, our big emphasis is on mission-driven companies and disruptive companies. So like we view mission-driven not necessarily as being like you have to be a B Corp or you have to be a nonprofit, but if you're setting out to make a difference in the world with your product or service or whatever it is you're creating, then we would love to support you in achieving that.
A positive difference, of course.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. What is that? Well, the real question I want to ask is
the real one.
Yeah. What inspired y'all to be a part of Global Entrepreneurship Week and invest in some of your time and resources to kind of help bolster the community?
So do you want to go first?
You go first. You were approached by Dave.
Yes. Well, I mean, I think just even how I met Dave speaks volumes just to how the Las Vegas like entrepreneurial community operates. It's very tight knit.
Mhm.
I met Dave through my friend Monica Fullerton of
Mhm.
Spousely.
Shout out to
We had-
Monica.
shout out to Monica.
We love
Monica-
her.
She's amazing. And she and I, we worked together. We helped her out with a strategy in maybe 2022 or something like that. And
Yeah.
so I met Dave when we went out to WeWork, and I think it was the Summerlin location. I thought Dave was awesome, and he actually mentioned GW to me the first time last year, but there was a lot going on, so we weren't really able to collaborate on it last year. But when he mentioned it, I was like, oh my gosh, like I really want to tap in and make an impact with the local community. I want to serve the local community. I want to build a relationship with entrepreneurs here in any way I can, because back to our ethos of purpose and profit are not mutually exclusive. We care a lot about delivering value, helping people, get a leg up in their entrepreneurial ventures. So, it really does come down to that. We're fairly new to the Las Vegas area. We moved here a month before the apocalypse started, like literally February 2020, and like a month
Oh
later,
man.
everything was shut
everything shut
down
down.
for real.
Yeah.
And so,
Like, what happened?
seriously, I mean, we were very grateful to be here rather than LA, where we all
Okay,
know
good.
like LA was kind of like a mess during the pandemic.
isolated.
So yeah, I mean, like when we found out a little bit more about GW this year, I was like, let's see how we can really make a difference. Like we proposed becoming a marketing and PR partner to amplify awareness around the event, find different ways to curate events, bring people into the fold. So, it's just about giving back and spreading awareness and making a difference.
Yeah, we want to do a lot of experiential and educational events and stuff here at GW, and we want to, help companies locally learn how to make that global impact and how to reach, outside of Las Vegas, and also, of course, bring things home and work hard.
Yeah, I love that you say that, because I think it does come down to not just feeling insulated, but being able to like make a difference here and like build community locally while also finding ways to reach out globally. Because I don't think it needs to be mutually exclusive.
You don't know where that expansion ends. It's
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And I
flux,
think
yeah.
that's what's so great about plugging into this movement is because it's really easy to just kind of hyper focus on location and just say, okay, what do we want to do here in Vegas? Which it's not a or, it's an and.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's how can we do that and also go global? And so, having, the opportunity to plug into an organization such as Global Entrepreneurship Network and then be able to host our city through Global Entrepreneurship Week. Like, I mean, again, it's just those types of things are to try to get plugged in. I mean, and I think you guys can speak a lot to that as you've worked with different companies and different brands of
Yes.
in order to be able to scale, in order to get in touch and get plugged in, it is hard sometimes. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, would you say like it's hard, like a little hard locally or just in general, or?
I mean
Anywhere.
both. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think both just in different ways. And I
Definitely.
think back, it goes back to even just your mission of wanting it to be kind of like heart-centered and mission-driven of what is that impact? And it does look different for everybody.
Exactly.
It's true.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I agree.
Yeah, so I think it'd be really awesome if we can share some tips. Like right before this, we had Daryl Slay, and he shared some mind-blowing sales
man.
tactics.
It was fire.
And so if y'all are okay,
Nice.
maybe you could give us some of the advice that you might have for other business owners on how to play in the PR space, right? I think right before this, we were just talking about getting pitched by a magazine to do the pay for play model, and that's a part of the business out there. But I kind of defer to y'all to share best practice.
There are definitely better alternatives to the pay to play model, and she
Yeah.
definitely fervently stands behind that.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Apollo IO.
Oh, I mean, so much about like, I think people like what they forget about PR is it's about relationships at the end of the day. So if you can be really good at building relationships, whether that be tapping into an ecosystem like Global Entrepreneurship Week, or even like looking into your LinkedIn profile, your Instagram, thinking about like who is here, where are their alignments, where is their shared value, and how can I reach out and find a way to serve them, but also gain some sort of reciprocal value at the same time, right? Because the more you build relationships that can amplify awareness, the more people are going to learn about you. I mean, PR is about visibility. It doesn't all have to come down to like, do you get a feature on Forbes today? Like the number of people that we get that are just like, hi, like, can I, like, I'm a random like dude in the Midwest. Like, can I just get on the feature, like a feature on Forbes? And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Like I will reply, like, why do you get to be on a Forbes?
Right.
And like I would say the same thing though to someone who, you know, maybe they're not like a random like person. Maybe they are a little bit more established. Same question, like why?
Yeah.
You know, and why do you even want to be there? Is it just
Yeah.
because that to you Forbes represents like you've made it? Like I've been, you know, on Forbes a couple of times, and I'm a member of the Forbes Agency Council. So if you Google my name, you'll see my, you know, a bunch of Forbes articles. Do I feel though that being in those Forbes articles has ultimately made a huge impact in my life? Absolutely not. So
yeah, but I think that brings up a good point of that perception over value, or perception over the actual results. And so I'm really curious to hear kind of just your insights on that, and also how you help, you know, individuals or brands navigate that, because again, they may come to you and say, oh, we want this, and you're like, but why do you want
why
that?
do you
Like,
want it?
what is it about that?
What is your goal?
Yeah. Yeah. And again, is that actually going to equal, you know, some return on investment, some kind of favorable outcome?
Right. And so much of like ROI with PR is how are you leveraging the PR?
Right.
Yeah.
People don't even show the articles half the time.
Sometimes that is such a good point.
That's
and we
ridiculous.
see that a lot. It's like, okay, so like for example, you know, we have a service called Publicist in a Box. It's a fairly productized service. And so for those of you who don't really understand, well, what does a productized service even mean? It's really when you're looking at creating a service that has the potential for scale. So the deliverables are fairly set, but there's still an ability to customize that service to your client. So in our Publicist in a Box package, we do a press release distribution, 3 articles, and 50 pitches. So if someone comes to us and they're like, oh, I would like, you know, to get some visibility, depending on their goals, you know, we probably will push them to that. But at the same time, it's like if we were to say just like write a random article because they're not giving us like a clear set goal, that's not really going to help them. So I'm like, you know, is your goal really just awareness around a particular initiative? Are you trying to see more sales? Like, what are your goals? And that way, you know, we'll create a story and an angle, you know, around that goal. You know, if they're not familiar, so that's another tip. Like, make sure that you're very familiar with the why of why you want PR, why you want more visibility. You know, it should be strategic. It shouldn't just be like you're wantonly wanting to like, get visibility. And you know, our purposeful partnership service is, you know, a very, much more high touch version of PR. Because I mean, like that service came into fruition when we were working with a young lady who's a hip hop artist out of New York. And she was like, I'm a snowboarder, but, you know, also a rapper, but I don't know how to get people to understand that I'm a snowboarder. And so I was like, what if we found a way to partner you with some company or entity that like is aware of, you know, does snowboarding? So we came across the Chill Foundation, which is a nonprofit. Exactly. Yeah, because it was started by the Burton brand founders, and so they give back to underserved youth via board sports, so empowering youth through board sports. So we ended up partnering Miranda Wrights with Chill Foundation. She became the first ever ambassador for New York, and that ultimately helped them spearhead an ongoing ambassador program. But that gave her more awareness, but also helped her give back in the process. She's helped that organization raise thousands of dollars. She got the kids in her music video, which is super fun.
That is cool.
And so it was really that and seeing that impact. We're like, we need to expand on this concept because when people do good, you know, that's a story. Like people need to understand, like you need a story, or if you don't have one, you need to find a way to create one.
Yeah. You know, having been in some of the marketing roles, a fellow marketer, right? So PR is not the strongest suit for me, but it's definitely a tool I like to leverage because it has so much impact. And so how I kind of see it is really I would use it mainly for 2 or 3 things, which is the first one is credibility, right? And so for example, at, you know, some of the previous companies that I've been a part of, you know, getting that first press piece for the sake of credibility, and then we repurpose that. So like, for
Mhm.
example,
Yeah.
I was part of a company called InstaWork that was doing on-demand staffing, right? High-tech on-demand staffing. And so we were able to say, hey, Vegas, we're going to hire 10,000 people. And then that was press worthy. And so we got
Yes.
press. And then I was able to take that article and put it on all my sales pitches. So every time I introduce
Mhm.
myself to, hospitality, manager, hiring manager, be like, and by the way, we were on Las Vegas News 3 because we're hiring 10,000 people. And so that's one way, is like using it for credibility.
Mhm.
And I've seen that, there's the pay to play Forbes stuff, right?
Mhm.
And I've seen people use that, but I'm not a huge fan of that one, because if you are in the industry and then you kind of know it's pay to play. And then to
Mhm.
me, it doesn't bring any
Kind of brings the
credibility.
credibility down
Right.
further.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the other one was exposure, right? So just like having exposure, so credibility and then exposure. And then the thing about that one is the call to action. So again, going back to the InstaWork case, that was like just download the app. If you want to apply for the job, download the app. And that actually resulted in thousands of downloads. So it worked.
Amazing.
And then I told you about Homey. We did the purposeful, the mission, social impact initiative, make homes possible. And that drove like 3,000 class signups and
That's so
600
good.
counseling appointments. So we put over 500 families on a path to home ownership. And then,
Yep.
it's not 1, 2, 3, it's a multi-year thing. And so,
And that's obviously very newsworthy. It's like
Yeah.
you're creating an impact, and it's a story. Like that's something worth writing about. And journalists, having done journalism and freelance journalism before I really moved into the marketing space, it's like
I don't have any relationship. So what are journalists looking for from somebody like me, so that I could, build those relationships and then create a pathway like, hey, I got a new social impact initiative and I want to put it on your plate or something like that. Like,
yeah. I mean, one thing I would suggest is thinking about this initiative, thinking about who would this really serve if they feel about it. And the person you're really thinking about, like, okay, I'm going to create like 3 core hours to read or know about this. Like, will they benefit? And then when you're thinking about like, what outlets would be serving that audiences, and from there, let me kind of recent art really seems like with this initiative. I mean, like,
When you make that investment,
Mhm.
whether it's marketing, but what are you saying is
inflation of people often think just marketing and and sales play.
Yeah.
Right. The market really build will amplify the reach, and then that will drive the traffic to your sales page.
Yeah.
But if your sales page,
you have to know which platforms to advertise on. You have to research. You have to.
Organic piece, right? Like figure.
zero strategy whatsoever, and like zero idea to what your goals are, you should not be. You are, and then you're doing it wrong. It's just ego. No reason.
Which is
I will send gold and they are, and it's all just like, what is the connection? I'm supposed to be
product or a new service, then it's really good to obtain PR services.
Definitely with launches, but of course you can do
Pre-launch
ongoing
especially.
PR. You can build, take your existing narrative and build on it and amplify it. Obviously with PR, you have a way in the media, which is why so many people are like, oh, pointing fingers at the media all day long, because it's like the idea of controlling a narrative, right? But it's like people are also choosing to consume the narrative that's being put out there. It's a reciprocal. When you think about like media and audiences, it's a very reciprocal type of relationship. One cannot exist without the other. They're feeding. It's very almost like a codependent relationship.
Yeah, for
Good
sure.
Not to hog all the questions, but I do have another PR question, which is, do you have an example of like a good execution of leveraging controversy to drive business results? I know that's a loaded question, but I've been thinking about it.
I've been waiting
Do we
for
have
this
any
moment.
real world examples of that we've encountered? We haven't really done much reputation management, though we've done it. But.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of hated figures out there that we see. Many, like I'm sure certain ones are just going to come to mind automatically for us, right? Just because
We don't
we
need
see
to
them
give
all the
them
time.
away.
We don't need to give them away. But
You guys all got
anytime
that.
you see like just so much like going on like around a particular person, like obviously that controversy is being leveraged, for better or for worse. There's this saying, obviously, like no news is like, what is the saying? Like no PR is bad. There's this, I don't remember.
There's a saying, but I think it has to do with like publicity stunts or something.
Yeah. Oh my God. Why am I forgetting it? But basically,
it's
like
old,
it's an old saying. But long story short, it's just the idea, the notion that like no like publicity is bad. Like as long as you're like out there, like that's a good thing. Like I don't know if I always agree with
I mean, it's
that.
very narcissistic when you
Um,
think about it. If
yeah.
you, even negative news is great for you, you know, like
Right.
negative
Yeah.
attention
Well,
is good for you. It's
How
not
about this?
narcissistic.
Let me rephrase the question. What about like leveraging the like controversial topics, but you feel good about it? Like it's aligned with your
Okay.
principles.
I have one. I have
But
one
you know the
exact.
world might not be ready for it, but you are gonna still push it out.
Okay.
Okay. Now I know we're gonna, well, I don't want anyway, that's why you got PR. Okay. So we were working with this up and coming, actually, we have a pretty deep number of PR questions. Yes. If you guys are the O1 visa, the to showcase their skills through PR, speaking, and so forth. So we're working with a entrepreneur. I think now and so we for security. There's a relation. The situation, however, the situation is relevant to a person. So we're like, okay, let's have you comment. You to negative and kind of going.
That was a great example.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank
I like that. And so what, for something like that, what is the, they are speaking into this, but what would be kind of like more of the strategy behind that?
So, I mean, I guess the big part of it is that people are searching for this topic still.
Yeah.
So it's like they don't necessarily know his name yet. Granted, of course, like the goal with the PR is like if they search his name, it's going to come up in search. It's going to be Google News Index, as we got at Yahoo Finance for that
Awesome.
particular article, and that's Google News Index. But and thinking about even further, people who don't know him, they're still going to be searching like MGM, like hacking, this and that. It's like, okay, so people are searching for this. It's negative, but now they're going to come stumble upon him and learn about him, learn about his company. So I would say, that's probably the most direct benefit. And for, this can be like rinse and repeat for a number of different people. It doesn't necessarily have to relate to like O1 visa type of situation.
And it helps him out because it shows that he's someone like him is needed here.
Yeah.
To prevent these things
Oh,
from
absolutely.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
great.
That's kind of like, I wouldn't have done that, but.
Pretty much. Yeah.
It's one of
100%.
those things, yeah, for sure.
Literally.
Yeah, I think you got my mind
Yeah.
running. But I think we got a fair amount of PR golden nuggets. From
Yes,
y'all,
lots
so,
of PR golden
right?
nugget.
Yeah, really appreciate that. What are y'all looking forward to next week for Global Entrepreneurship Week?
Gosh, there's so much I feel like that's
So many
populating now into the calendar.
Right.
So like we have to like sit down and really like look at the whole calendar this weekend, not to mention like set up a couple of the events that we're involved with at the Ahern on Monday, which one is going to be a workshop on how to find your purpose,
Awesome.
which that will be taking place at 3 p.m. And then another one is going to be a personal branding panel at 2. And two of the other people on the panel with us, we've recently built relationships with. So again, going back to the importance of building relationships. So we're excited about that, not to mention like we're doing a bagels and business gathering at now this is a really fun story. So at the Bagel Nook in downtown Summerlin, which this is really like building relationships. I mean, the founder or the owner, Jordan, he found us a Trader. Like it was like hi, like we were literally talking, and there was right, pretty near the area, and we were like, okay, like, yeah, come, I'm like, okay, so it's right there next to Trader Joe's in downtown Summerlin. So we're like, okay, so we've since built a relationship. So we're like, we know that he wants more awareness for the Bagel Nook, so we chose to do it there.
Will he be
How
speaking?
many bagels?
He's not going to be able to be available, unfortunately. unfortunately, because he does a lot of travel back and forth to Canada and Pennsylvania. So I don't know if he'll be around or no. I take that back. He's going to be doing stuff with F1, Formula One.
right.
Oh, he gave us so many bagels. Like,
It's
you
like
know, like
40
I love you,
bagels.
but like that's too much. Like I'm not a
A lot
carb
of
person. Like
carbs.
I'm still very LA with my diet. I'm not
Right.
gonna lie. You know, I'm all about my avocado
It was
toast
delicious,
and my
though.
keto
Yeah.
and my
All
paleo
good.
stuff.
No shame.
It was delicious though. I had
So
like,
good. Bagels are amazing.
the blueberry cream cheese.
Yes,
Ooh.
but aside from our
That does
events,
sound
there's so
good.
many other things going on that, you know, you just guys, you got to go onto the GW Vegas website, check out the calendar. And of course, there's the global platform as well. You know, Elias and Megan are continuing to announce more events, what's going on. So as long as you
Yeah.
stay tuned, keep paying attention to this platform and all the new things that are being rolled out, you will be in the know. Just don't forget to register because things are going to, you know, pick up pretty quick
Pretty
over
quickly,
this
yeah.
weekend. So it's a really great time to sit down and, you know,
Figure
look
out
at your
where you wanna go.
calendars and, you know, just like we did for CES when we were involved in CES earlier in the year. They were like, oh, there's so much going on.
There's a lot.
It was
Yes.
kind of
Do
overwhelming.
it all.
Yeah.
It stressed me out a little bit. I was excited.
Right.
Exciting, yeah.
I feel like next CES is going to be crazy.
I have a
with
feeling it's going to be really
Man, oh,
crazy.
this,
With
yeah,
AI,
this coming year.
yeah.
AI and autonomous vehicles. Somebody was telling us about autonomous vehicles. I think, was it Hua Wang from Generator? Somebody was like, watch out,
The
autonomous
Hyundais,
vehicles
right?
are going to
Huh?
blow up
The
here in
Hyundais.
Vegas.
You're talking about the Hyundais, like the taxis that can drive.
Oh, well,
Vegas?
I think, are you talking about Halo car?
Yeah.
That Halo car? They're not necessarily, actually, Halo car is not actually autonomous.
Oh, it's
Is it
not.
No,
Really?
it's
No.
high latency communication. So there's actually a driver in the office moving the car around.
Oh, that's kind of weird. What if he falls asleep?
Well, I don't know. They got
Hopefully they figured out that
they
problem.
got an open floor plan. I feel like
Oh,
you know.
wow. I didn't realize that. I thought it was AI.
Yeah, I guess yeah, it's pretty crazy. But there are lots of AI car companies. I think right by the Pepsi headquarters there's actually one that is in like stealth mode. So
wow.
none of it is like branded, but you can tell like they're self-driving cars and everything,
Oh my
and
gosh.
they go into this like unmarked building that's
Yeah.
like no branding, anything. I'm like,
What's
I want to know what's going
Yeah.
on. And
Right.
Yeah.
That's exciting. It scares me a little bit, but it's very exciting.
Yeah.
Lots of great events coming up this week on AI. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, and again, that's Vegas too. There's always, a million things going on here in the city, and that's where we actually have gotten some pushback for this event next week because it's like, oh, well, it's F1. Okay.
So
Right. What about
And-
it?
like the
And-
locals aren't going to F1.
Well, exactly. And it's like, but not every single person in the world, and definitely not in the city, is going to be involved in that. Like, life still goes on. There's still a city going on outside of
Mhm.
singular event.
Right.
And so again, it's like, if we can't figure out how to make something like EW work in tandem with F1, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
We can
Right. And that
figure
goes back to our earlier conversation, just kind of things we were touching on. It's like it's very exciting, but very much like this is like a strip, this is a big high scale event. Like what we're trying to really concentrate on with Entrepreneurship Week in Vegas is uplifting the local community and trying to demonstrate that there's stuff going on all the time on very expensive events, but that doesn't mean that the entrepreneur community is just gonna it should be,
Well, supporting it in its both too, because I mean, there are quality stories because of the construction, how that's been impacting companies and businesses. I'm here for losing money already because of some of the remodeling and so those are creations that get to happen next week and then continue on.
Yeah.
The beauty around Entrepreneurship Week is really getting the collective, creating spaces for solutions to happen that are behind closed doors, happening in some groups where they also need to happen in front of other people.
Yeah.
So maybe local organizations that need to kind of hear these concerns and hear some of these things that are happening that they might not be aware of because they're so hyper focused over here.
Exactly. Yep. 100%.
And I feel like that happens like even things like CS2
Oh,
or
yeah.
SEMA, it's like you have these grand things coming and it's okay, yeah, we can do it. And there's also so many other
What I like to see is, being trying to incorporate more of the local
Right.
community, more of the
Yeah.
strategic alliances with local
Absolutely,
organizations.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, quick reactions. We do have a Formula One related event on the calendar next week,
Perfect.
Friday and Saturday. We have a cigar lounge that's on the strip. They're right by Turn 12, and so we can do entrepreneur networking. And so, really excited to go to that one. I don't smoke
Yeah.
cigars, but my company TechStart is a co-sponsor for the event, so I'm super stoked to have that logo included in
You're
Oh,
everything.
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm
It's a little
stoked.
smoky
It'll be
inside.
fun. Yeah. But yes, 2 days ago we had Dr. Martha Soglio on the podcast. She's the director of tourism for UNLV, and she brought up the host guest relationship, right? And
Yes.
Vegas really nailed down the host guest relationship for sure. F1 is gonna
Push the
envelope
envelope a
on
little
it.
bit, yeah.
You know, which I think is actually doing pretty decently better than F1. Sorry, F1. They have DEO that are trying to do better. Actually, I think I'll give them this job. DEI when actually got tickets given away to foster kids.
I saw
That's
that.
cool. Small social impact, but the Super Bowl is actually doing good on the social impact piece. So what the Super Bowl host committee, it's in tandem with the Raiders community advisory board. People on that advisory board who are entrepreneurs in the Vegas community, 20 plus years. They're really looped in.
And they're really specific on even just the requirements to get involved too.
Right. So they did a specific outreach program to allow small businesses to apply opportunity to bowl. There's like I think 40 small businesses that got that opportunity. The photographers, so that's really cool for her. And also NFL does is they do like some kind of grants. They do a grant every time in the city that becomes your grant. So it does I like but at one we crazy and one that I see there's new impacts on health. Gonna be a
Of again, it's like, well, there's like this direct impact, and then but what's also the indirect impact
Yeah.
of all of this?
Mm-hmm.
So again,
There's
it's
a
like
lot
the
of layers.
economic levels
Mhm.
Yes.
of different things.
There's a lot of layers, and I just think a lot of people, out looking in on Vegas are just so unfamiliar with all the different things going on, which is another reason why I'm excited about GW Vegas,
Yes.
just because, obviously, you guys are doing a lot of live streaming, so there's a lot of opportunity for people outside of the immediate community to really learn about what's happening aside from just F1. Like,
Right.
other stuff.
Yeah.
Things like that, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
she's
So-
over here too.
Probably getting to the point where we'll wrap up.
Yeah.
What else do y'all want to share with the audience today?
Do you want to talk about any of our clients, like maybe the show, something of that nature?
Sure. I kind of feel like somewhat online, but
It's okay. Go ahead and pitch whatever you gotta pitch.
being interest marketing, we do a lot of stuff. And it's just really fun, exciting. We are actually working on product placement deals for an up and coming the first episode of Offset people So we are doing for our new case. It is a pretty heavy investment, but if you are one, so if you are interested, feel free. But more importantly, going back to our ecosystem, we found our organization really would like to amplify with nonprofits. We allow them to come straight into our ecosystem to potentially match a really high level, high range, to raise more dollars and to get where their mission.
And next week, if you see is there anything that you think we're more than happy to answer your questions at any time. Ask them up to us.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Where can folks find you and connect with you virtually?
So you can find me at Nadya Rousseau on Instagram and pretty much everywhere, and alternate media on Instagram and on LinkedIn.
And mine's a little bit more complex.
Of course it is.
ACLE and then binary code 01010 _ so Oracle 01010 underscore.
Can't let that go. We need to know why.
If you can't find that, you can literally just go on alternate media and it will
And
say
now
founded
Paul
by
is
Nadya
Yeah, it's
Oracle.
right there.
Yeah.
Okay, what does the binary code mean?
Well, I consider myself a bit of an oracle. Like I am pretty perceptive in a lot of ways and kind of psychic abilities, I think.
Nice.
The way you said
And
that.
I just think it just looks cool to have like that matrix binary code next to the name.
Oh, yes.
You're a 90s kid. You grew up in the 90s, like the Matrix.
Well, thank you both so much.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. See you next time.